Dawn is, our holy martyr, Michael Servetus. May God avenge his blood. And that's Shadow. And as always, Dawn is the wisest of all. Knowing everyone's time zone, I really think Sandy is the one who should be sleeping right now. That may be the case. Tayo, our British/Nigerian friend, says the last 10 seconds of the countdown is anxiety inducing. So just got back from the gym and kind of pumped, and I really wanted to talk about the Joe Rogan episode with Dave Smith and Douglas Murray. And I figured, hey, let's have a late night Jacob stream, see if people are interested. If they're not, I'll probably end up going to sleep and waking up and doing my homework and actually being a productive citizen of this world, which these mini pickles are spicy to me, which I'm guessing is not spicy to most people. But I like them. And I bought them. I hope my connection isn't going to have too much trouble, although it's been having trouble. Tayo, you've got nothing better to do. You should jump on. Did people actually listen to it? Especially if you're not actually interested in the details of is it was important, I think. I guess they are kind of like gherkins. Let me see. Well, there you go. Ingredients: cucumbers, water, vinegar, salt, calcium chloride, garlic, red bell pepper, tarragon leaves, red chili, polysorbate 80, natural flavors, FD&C yellow number 5. So this will probably, and as a product of India, it will probably put my life to an end quicker than I thought. But I like them. Yeah, natural flavors. It is kosher though. So at the very least, the natural flavors are not insects. And now you guys can see, oh no, how many sunflower seeds. So I went to, there's a market around here, which is a quasi-ethnic market. Here, I will hide this so you guys can't see it anymore, so I won't feel so shamed. It's a quasi-ethnic market, and so the produce is, and I can get sadaf, and I can get my yogurt at a reasonable price, and so, but you guys aren't here for that, or are you? So, what were we talking about? We were talking about Douglas Murray versus Dave Smith on Joe Rogan. It was a little unfair that it was kind of 2-on-1. I think that is a problem. Dave Smith has already convinced Joe Rogan, as have people like Ian Carroll and Daryl Cooper, of certain things. And it's a problem. And that does not mean that the solution to that, here, maybe, do I dare play a clip, a short clip? Here, I'll just find the clip of, what was her name? Deborah Lipstadt? Is that her name? Yeah, Deborah Lipstadt. So she was asked about censorship, and she said Holocaust denial laws cause more problems than they solve, and she's right. You cannot challenge these narratives through censorship. Censorship doesn't work. Unfortunately, pulling rank, while it will work for some people, will turn other people off. And I think that I can't say I would have done a better job than Douglas Murray. Douglas Murray may be the best person we have to do this. And I had great hope that he would absolutely embarrass Dave Smith. Dave Smith is an articulate and smart person. He is not himself anti-Semitic. He is very skeptical of the idea that people who are feeding him much of his information are in fact anti-Semitic, or close enough to it as to not matter. There is a level of, so this is just a fact of the media environment in which we live, which is that if you want to amplify a message, for example, Hitler, like this idea that Hitler is, and you can go back in my thing, I have done episodes, I have done rants about how we have turned Hitler into the Satan of our culture, and we should not do this. I think especially German society, but also Jewish society, needs to stop making the Holocaust a focal point of our religion, of our daily life, of our understandings of ourselves. Rabbeinu Raphael Mullet, Shlita, I am guessing you are preparing for Pesach. And I don't know how young your kids are, but when you have kids and you are an Orthodox Jew, preparing for Pesach can be quite I am guessing you may be staying up late at night cleaning for Pesach. That is, or preparing for Shabbos. I am guessing you are a very, very busy man. You should be matzliach. Something like that. Okay. Yeah. Somebody says, yeah. We need to be able to have this conversation. We need to be able to address questions, legitimate questions by people. But what happens on the internet is, if you want a propagandist, what you do not do is go find somebody who does not believe what you believe and give them money and make them and this I have been hammering on this for years. It is incredibly important to recognize this. You don't go around paying someone who doesn't believe what you believe to change their mind and dishonestly represent what you want said. What you do is you find someone who says in a very appropriate way. And again, this goes back to Megan Basham's book, Pastors for Sale, Preachers for Sale, right? So these leftist organizations were like, hey, how do we change the evangelicals, right? So let's amplify, let's affect, let's influence the pastors who are most gettable with the types of arguments that they will believe, right? And in that way, we can. This is public relations 101. It is propaganda, kind of, but you amplify voices, and Dave Smith is that voice. He is a Jewish comedian with influence who is smart and knows important people, and he is a libertarian who is very critical of U.S. foreign policy. He is in many ways a non-interventionist, etc., right? And so he is a great spokesperson for not just anti-Zionism, because I would love a good spokesperson for anti-Zionism. I am not so to explain, if by Zionist you mean someone who attaches religious significance to the modern state of Israel, I am an anti-Zionist. If by Zionist you mean someone who has a special relationship with the state of Israel, certainly something that is on par with my citizenship with the United States, I am not a Zionist. If you live in Israel, Gesundheit, right? That's one thing. I'm an American. I took an oath of allegiance to the United States when I became a citizen to the United States, and I took it very seriously, and I still take it very seriously. I'm an American. But if by Zionist you mean Jew, I guess I'm a Zionist. And I have family in Israel. I have been to Israel. look forward to visiting Israel. There are important religious sites to my religion in Israel. There are people who share my religion in Israel. After New York, probably one of the best Jewish states is Israel. It's like number 3. California, New York, maybe New Jersey. But my allegiance is to Judaism. It's not, and to the Jewish people as Jews, not as Israelis. But the fact is, and yesterday I was watching, there's this really good channel by Frida Wiesel. She grew up Satmar, and around the age of 20, she started moving away from it. 25, she left the community completely. She has a channel where she and documentaries about Hasidic life, and they're well done and warm and truthful, which I really appreciate. I highly recommend them. And coming from Satmar, but not really understanding the anti-Zionist position, the non-Zionist position. Well, let me read this after I finish with Frida Wiesel. She put out a video which was absolutely painful. Absolutely painful. As anti-Zionist Jews, like Satmar will call themselves anti-Zionist. They're being attacked by anti-Semites. And this was one of the main reasons I could never really be involved in, I tried, in the anti-Zionist movement. It's just too anti-Semitic. I don't know, and I highly recommend watching her video. It was painful, honestly, but it was very truthful. And I put a link to it on my server. I don't understand. Are you saying that Dave Smith is being supported by some who hold more focally odious beliefs than he? Definitely, there's no question. There are definitely people who are certainly on Twitter amplifying his voice because he is convenient, or that he is just a conveniently positioned speaker for those that aren't. Because he is a conveniently positioned speaker, they are amplifying his voice. And part of the reason why I believe that he is so conveniently positioned is what Douglas Murray tried to bring up, and unfortunately, I think was lost on too many people. Right? So Dave Smith is in this position where he's like, well, this is just one more thing I have an opinion on. I have a right to my opinion. Yes, you have a right to your opinion. Nobody said you don't have a right to your opinion. But you are being elevated as an authority. And if you are an authority, right, I would love for Dave Smith to actually know Hebrew and Arabic and have visited the areas he's talking about. That doesn't mean he can't have an opinion. That doesn't invalidate his opinion. Fallacy. Just because something is not a logical proof does not mean that it is worthless information. Right? I seriously do believe that if Dave Smith were to visit Israel and Gaza and the West Bank, and certainly if he knew Arabic, I think his views would be at least a little bit different. At least a little bit different. I do think they would be, but it's not that it's impossible to hold his views and know a lot. It is possible to hold his views and know a lot. You have to be a libertarian pacifist who is very anti-intervention, right? Those are particular positions that, frankly, are not very popular in the United States, right? And politically untenable and non-realistic, right? There is a problem that especially people like Joe Rogan, he relies on Dave Smith for his information. He trusts Dave Smith. He really trusts Dave Smith. And Dave Smith is, I believe, completely honest. I haven't detected any dishonesty. I don't think he's being dishonest in any way. I think he believes the things that he does. I think he's better informed than most people. At the same time, I think he's very wrong on certain facts that Douglas Murray did call him upon. And I think if Dave Smith had been around, this is the problem I had with PSA Stitch, right? I have seen this a lot. Greg Horwitz, same thing. People who woke up to politics all of 10 minutes ago. Okay, a year ago, 2 years ago, 8 years ago. They're not, it's as if he's never heard of war. Well, no, he's very anti-war. He's very obviously very anti-war. And he feels that the United States should not be getting involved in foreign wars. I'm very sympathetic to that view. But certain things he was saying, like he had this idea that Gaza was like a concentration camp before October 7th. And frankly, I think if he had visited, unfortunately, he can't go back in time. I think if he had, Mashiach hasn't come yet. We still have war. Yeah, unfortunately. Which is one of the reasons why we can't have a Jewish state. Thank you very much, Kazi, my dear friend. I don't know if I have answers, and I hate sitting here talking to myself. What is that thing? Look, I don't see how we can have clean hands. I don't see how we can have clean hands. It is incredibly clear to me that if it would save a single Jewish life, I understand what he's saying. I understand it's ridiculous. But yes, I would be like, hey, all of the Jews leave Israel. Yes. And no, it would not be an easy, simple thing to me. Hashana Haba B'Yerushalayim means something to me. And the fact is, as things are, like, the reason I won't move to Israel is because of my parents. But if it wasn't because my parents were living here, I would seriously be considering moving to Israel. Very seriously. But it's why doesn't he first say this is amazing? What little death there is compared to other wars, and then say I wish there was no war. Move with he says that he because he sincerely believes that this is worse than any other war. He said that. He really said that. He said he said the war in Gaza is much worse than any other war in the world right now, including worse than Ukraine. It's not true. He's factually incorrect. I think I understand your non-Zionist position, conditional on present circumstances. But going back historically, were there periods of Zionism that you would practically oppose? Oh, yeah. Oh, like 1948 Zionism? Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. It was a complete mistake. Irgun, Haganah, Jabotinsky, all of those people, Theodore Herzl, like, all of those people were completely wrong in how they went about it. They never, ever, ever should have. The Balfour Declaration was, frankly, Christian dispensationalists affecting the Jewish. Begin, yes, obviously. I refuse to call Lod Airport by that man's name. You don't even understand, Marcus. Like, her name, when you say her name in my family, people start spitting. Yes, Bar Kokhba was wrong as well. Yes, and I understand what you're trying to say, Chazi. But Rabbi Akiva also recognized Bar Kokhba was wrong during Bar Kokhba's life. If there was an option, yes. If I were the Prime Minister of Israel, I would say I would go to the United Nations, say, okay, give us anywhere to move to. We'll move the entire nation. We will move. Give us any stretch of land. We'll move, all of us. God requires nothing from us. We just wait until he is ready. No. Do I look like somebody who's doing nothing, Chazi? Mipnei chatatenu galinu me'artzenu. Yes, like the idea that you can address the galut by anything other than addressing the chet is wrong. It's not Jewish. It's completely heretical to Judaism. Mipnei chatatenu galinu me'artzenu. Marcus says, okay, I'll let you guys figure this one out. I certainly would have preferred the British mandate continue to a Jewish state. Despite all the problems with the British mandate. These cucumbers are really addictive. Good thing they're pretty low in calories. 5 calories for 6 pickles. Chazi, where in Torah does it say that? Where in Torah does it say that? Armenia would have been better off under the Soviet Union still? I don't know. I actually don't know that much about Armenia. But it would be nice if the Christians weren't being, Song of Songs. Exactly. Exactly, Kazi. Exactly. Thank you. Happy, leave that alone. Well, I mean, no war would have been good. Soviet Union in general, bad. Hard to assess some of these things. Yeah. And counterfactuals are counterfactuals. The fact is, the situation right now is the situation that it is. Well, I'm just glad Trump hasn't destroyed the world economy too much, apparently, yet. You are okay coming late to the date. I'm making sure to prepare the table and set the flowers. Chazi, like, אף על פי שיתממה עם כל זה אחכה לו. Do I have to pull up Rambam? But I really have to stop eating these cucumbers. Yes, we are in Galut. Chazi, may God not remind you how we are on Galut, how he does on a daily basis, apparently. You have an effing bomb shelter in your effing home. Back to the problem of Dave Smith and Douglas Murray. We live in a time where people don't trust experts and institutions. They don't trust credentials. People are turning towards infotainment, not people who actually can be trusted to deeply understand and know a situation with some degree of objectivity and some degree of maturity in their beliefs. The lid is in my kitchen, and yeah. And I think so. It might be like I just came from the gym, and I think I might be craving electrolytes. That might be why I wanted something salty. But Joe trusts Douglas, so I wonder what he will think post this conversation. Hopefully, he will move somewhat. He talks to Gad Sad a lot, but I think first of all, Rogan is like, I don't know, and he's pretty pacifist and libertarian himself, right? I wish Dave Smith would be like, okay, I will actually go on one of these Israeli tours, but hello, Bob Boy. I don't remember you, but apparently you've been around before. Jump on. Somebody's got to jump on. Chezi's not jumping on. What time is it where you are? Jump on. The water is fine. Bob Boy, let's go. See? So can I work for a company that supports Israel? Oh, it's you. Is it you, Trey? Is it really you? Poor Trey. Yes, you can work for a company that supports Israel because if you're working for a company that supports the United States, which all of them are, it's the same thing. The BDS movement is literally anti-Semitic. The BDS movement is literally anti-Semitic. And it is the anti-Semitic nature of things like the BDS movement, which makes it so hard for people like religious non-Zionists, or however you want to call Satmar, and frankly Chabad too. The Rebbe was not a Zionist. As far as I know, there's a reason why I did several chapters of Ma'aneh Chacham by Rabbi Yoel Kahn. As far as I know, there's no daylight between me and the Rebbe's beliefs, and frankly, the Yanuka's beliefs. And if Chazi had some good Torah reasons, not out of Shir Ashir, I would entertain them. But unfortunately, if you're a real American, you'll drop some hard-boiled eggs into that jar after the pickles are gone. Really? Yeah, I guess pickled hard-boiled eggs. Although this isn't kosher for Passover. It might be kosher for Passover for Sephardim. I don't see why it wouldn't be. The question is, what kind of vinegar? I don't know if this is kosher for Passover. Now I may need to visit the Yanuka. Please let me know what words of his would change your mind. If he, you do realize that the Yanuka is affiliated with the Eda Haredit, right, Chazi? I mean, as far as I know, his position is the Eda Haredit position. So, like, if you can convince him to leave the Eda Haredit position, I will also leave the Eda Haredit position. But too late for as far as I know. Come on, you don't love the Eda Haredit? How did I know that you wouldn't love the position of the Eda Haredit? What has the Eda Haredit been saying about Haredim serving in Sahel? Guessing they haven't changed much, have they? Let's see what Grok says. Has the Eda Haredit changed its position on the IDF since October 7th in any way? Let's see what Grok says. First, it's trying to understand which October 7th I'm talking about. It got the correct one. October 7th, 2023. Eda Haredit is probably a Haredi community in Jerusalem. Well, kind of. Come on. Okay, I think it finally has started searching Eda Haredit. Oh, there were riots? When were these riots? 2017. That's a long time ago. What will Grok say? I am going to finish this entire jar. Oh, come on. Grok is glitching. Okay. Grok. The Eda Haredit, a staunchly anti-Zionist ultra-Orthodox group, has historically opposed participation in the Israel Defense Force due to ideological beliefs that reject cooperation with the Jewish state, which they view as illegitimate until the Messiah's arrival. There's no definitive evidence indicating a formal change in their official stance on the IDF since October 7th, 2023. Their long-standing position, rooted in the teachings of Rabbi Yoel Teitelbaum, prioritizes Torah study over military service, viewing the latter as a compromise of religious purity and a defiance of divine will. However, the broader ultra-Orthodox Haredi community includes some less extreme factions, has shown signs of pragmatic shift post-October 7th. Driven by the scale of the crisis, reports indicate thousands of Haredi men volunteered for or enlisted in the IDF, reflecting a sense of national urgency. While these actions suggest a softening among individuals or less rigid Haredi groups, the Eda Haredit's insular and uncompromising nature makes it unlikely they formally altered their position. The refusal to engage with state institutions like elections or funding supports the view that their core ideology remains intact. Yes, it's one of the reasons that I am very, I think the Eda Haredit has the best position is they don't take any money from that state. Without specific statements from Eda Haredit leadership, it's reasonable to infer continuity in the opposition, though individual members may act independently under pressure. If you're seeking a more granular update, I can dig into recent developments further. Let me know. Sure, search some more. Don is shocked. What are you shocked about? That the Eda Haredit hasn't changed their ideas? The Yanuka parsing the people staying about fight and giving life for the life for Israel. Praising. Oh, why are you not surprised that I am going to finish eating all the pickles? Can't eat just Let's see what this video is. This is from a year ago, but we can watch it. Okay, let's see what the Yanuka said.
אשריכם ישראל, אשריכם ישראל, אשריכם ישראל, אשריהם שככה לו, אשריהם שאדוני אלוהיו.
They are fortunate who have the Lord as their God.
חזקו ויאמץ לבבכם כל המייחלים לאדוני.
Be strong and take courage. Yeah,
אשרי כל
the whatchamacallit, closed captioning, it seems pretty right.
מי שנמצא בארץ הקודש, בארץ ישראל. אשרי כל היושבים על אדמתה.
They are fortunate who live in that land. This is true. I agree 100%.
אשרי כל הקדושים שמתו.
And fortunate are all of the holy martyrs who died.
על קדושת שמו יתברך. אשרי כל אשר מסרו נפשם על ארץ הקודש, אשרי כל העוזרים והמסייעים לארץ הקודש, לעם הקודש. אשריכם ישראל. עת צרה היא ליעקב.
It is a time of trouble for Jacob.
וממנה יבשע.
Amen.
חכמים מלמדים במסכת סוטה בדף מ"ב עמוד א', שמע ישראל, אתם קרבים היום למלחמה על אויביכם ולא על אחיכם. לא יהודה על שמעון ולא שמעון על בנימין, שאם תיפלו בידם ירחמו עליכם. על אויביכם אתם הולכים, שאם תיפלו בידם אין מרחמין עליכם. ואז חכמים נותנים לנו להבין שאויב הוא אכזר. הוא רוצה רק לעשות...
Are you guys seeing this? Should probably expand it. The closed captioning is right, so I don't know if I should be translating.
הכי רע. הוא רוצה לכלות ולבטל ולהשמיד כמו שראינו במשך כל הדורות. אבל חכמים מלמדים אותנו שאתם קרבים היום למלחמה, אז ממשיכה הגמרא ואומרת, אל ירח לבבכם.
So he's saying that you're going against an enemy, and enemies will be cruel, but you should not be weak-hearted.
מפני צהלת הסוסים וצחצוח הרבות. שלא יהיה לכם פחד בלב, ואיזו יראה כזאת קשה שתגיד לכם, תשמעו את כל הסוסים שלהם, את כל החרבות, תשמעו את כל המלחמה שלהם, תראו את הכוח שלהם, תראו אותם, יהיה לכם איזה פחד בלב. לא, אל ירח לבבכם. אל תיראו מפני הגפת התריסין. שלא יהיה לכם פחד שתראו את כל המגינים שלהם, ואת כל הלבושים שלהם, והטנקים שלהם, והכוח שלהם, והחיל שלהם, והקלגסין שלהם, כל החיילות, כל הצבא, בוי חיל הצבא, והכוח, וכל מה שהם. ואל תחפזו מכל הקרנות, תשמעו את כל השופרות, את כל העמולה שלהם, אל תארצו מפני כל הצבחות, תראו את הקולות שהם צועקים ושואגים, עושים רעש מלחמה ומנסים להפחיד ולעשות פחד, כמו עם גוליית שהיה עושה דווקא בזמן שעם ישראל אומרים בוקר וערב שמע ישראל, היה מנסה להפחיד אותם, להטריס אותם ומדבר שרה נגד השם ברוך הוא, ובסוף דוד המלך הוא זה שניצח אותו. הקטן הוא המנצח. היה לנו את נס חנוכה, היה לנו נס פורים, שאנחנו רואים את כל הניסים, את כל הנפלאות, איך שרדנו במשך כל הדורות. אומה שלמה יחידה שורדת ומתמודדת במשך כל השנים, ורק אותה רוצים לכבות. אין שום היום צאצאים לאיזו אומה שמסרה מסורת במשך כל כך הרבה שנים, בכל העולם אין דבר כזה. עם ישראל זה הסמל של התורה, של היופי, של הנפלאות, של האחדות, של האהבה, במשך כל הדורות, של אהבת חינם, של חסד, שזה הסימנים של עם ישראל, ביישנים, רחמנים, מסעת יבוא דף ט', כמו אומרת, ביישנים, רחמנים, כל מיני חסדים. הסתכלות על ביישנים שהם רחמנים, שהם גומלי חסדים, שהם עוזרים אחד לשני, זה סימני עם ישראל. במשך כל הדורות העברנו את המסר הזה, ואבותינו סיפרו לנו את גדולת השם, את פעולת השם, את מעשי ידיו. שפותחים ספר תהילים, רואים את דוד המלך עם מה הוא מתמודד, עם כל כך הרבה אויבים, עם כל כך הרבה מלחמות. הוא לא פחד משום דבר, לא היה לו שום פחד. חזקיהו המלך, שאומרים שהקיפו את ירושלים, ליגיונות, יש אומרים 180 מיליון ליגיונות, יש אומרים רבבות, אין שיעור למספר שהקיפו את ירושלים בשביל להחריב אותה בערב פסח. וחזקיהו הולך לישון ובטוח בניצחונו, עד שיורדים מלאכים ומכים אותם מן השמיים.
Assalamu alaikum. Thinking about starting a business? Don't, because starting a business is a terrible idea. 95% of new businesses fail.
Sorry, this is an insurance client of mine.
וכל חיל סנחרירים ביותר שהיו בהיסטוריה, היו לובשים ובגדים של חיות, של תוחלצים, של אריות, של דובים, של זאבים, להפחיד, ליתן יראה בפחד במשך כל הזמן על כל האויבים שלהם, שכל מי שיראה אותם יהיה לו פחד ומורא בלב שלו. נבוכדנצר, שהיה רוכב על אריה עם נחש, כמו רסן של סוס, ככה הוא רוכב על אריה. פרעה, מלך מצרים, וכל כך הרבה לאין שיעור. יהושע, במסכת שביעית בירושלמי, בפרק שישי הלכה ב', ששם הירושלמי אומר שיהושע הגיע שהגיע לארץ ישראל, אמר רבן שמעון בן גמליאל, שהוא שלח 3 איגרות, יהושע, עד שלא נכנסו לארץ. אמר להם, מי שרוצה להיפנות, יפנה, להשלים, ישלים, לעשות מלחמה יעשה. וכמובן עשו איתו 31 מלכים, עשו איתו מלחמה, ונפלו בפני יהושע. ואז הגיע שובח מלך ארמניה, ובא ליהושע בן נון, אמר לו, אנחנו באנו לנקום עם 45 מלכים, לעשות בך מלחמה, נקמה על כל מה שעשית. זה היה ביום שבועות, ויהושע בן נון יושב ולומד ומלמד את עם ישראל, ומביאים לו איגרת, והוא רושם בפניו את כל מאליך, יהושע בן נון, שמענו את אשר רציתם, וכו', ומתחיל להגיד לו שבעוד 30 יום הם יבואו למלחמה עם 60,000 גיבורים לכל מלך, ויש בראשם גיבורים נוראים ועצומים, ויפת הגיבור, וככה ניסה ליתן בו יראה ופחד ולהפחיד אותו. יהושע אומר לו, שב פה לשליח, ומשגר לו מכתב, אומר לו, אל תטרח לבוא אליי בעוד 30 יום, אני אבוא אליך בעוד שבוע. וכמובן, אחרי שבוע ימים הלך יהושע בן נון ועשה בהם מלחמה, והפיל את שובח מלך ארמניה, ואת כל החומות, ואת כל המחשבים, ואת כל הכישופים שנעשו שם, ואת כל החומות ברזל שהיו שם, וביטל אותם מכל וכל. עם ישראל יוצא ממצרים, מגיעים כיתות במחילתא דרבי שמעון, שכל 4 כיתות יושבים, אומרים לחזור למצרים, עמוד במדבר, אין לנו לאן ללכת. ומגיעה מסירות נפש, שעם ישראל מחליט, ובראשם נחשון בן עמינדב, שקופץ לתוך הים, ונעשה נס, והים נקרע, והמים להם חומה מימינם ומשמאל. שגם במצרים, שעם ישראל היו במצרים, היו חלק שכבר אמרו, טוב, הנה, אין לנו ישוע. אבל תמיד יש את אותם אנשים שהם תמיד יכולים להיות חזקים יותר וגיבורים יותר, ויש להם תקווה יותר, שהם מאמינים שאפשר לצאת מהפך להפך. אמונה, הפירוש שלה, שמתי שרואים שהשכל, המציאות לא מאפשרת יותר, אין תקווה יותר, שם מתחילה האמונה. מפה מתחילים השערים להיפתח, מפה שמתחילים להבין שהבלתי אפשרי יכול להיות אפשרי. הכל אפשרי אצל השם יתברך, ובכהרף עין ממש. וכוח השם הוא זו, הוא גבורתו, ואנחנו חייבים להיות מלאים בתקווה וכוח וגבורת הלב, ולא לפחד משום דבר שבעולם, ולהיות מאוחדים ולהיות גיבורים, ולא לנסות לחפש אשמים ולהאשים איש את רעהו, או להאשים כל דבר שבעולם, אלא להיות מאוחדים ולהיות גיבורים, ולעשות שלום, ולהיות גיבורי חיל, אנשי מלחמה, בוטחים בהשם ברוך הוא, לא יראים ולא מחתים ולא מפחדים משום דבר שבעולם, רק מהשם ברוך הוא אלוהי ישראל, מרימים את העיניים לשמיים, מבקשים את רחמיו, ומתפללים לפניו. אין עצה יותר מתפילה. השם ברוך הוא רוצה שיתפללו אליו מקטן ועד גדול. שירימו את עיניהם לשמיים ויבקשו כל אחד בפשטות, אפילו בפה שלו, אפילו רחוק שברחוקים, אפילו דל שבדלים, אפילו אדם שהוא רחוק מאוד באמונה, ורחוק מאוד ממנו יתברך. רק תפילה חרישית קטנה, עם מבט לשמיים. בבקשה, השם ברוך הוא אלוהי ישראל. אדוני צבאות עמנו משגב לנקוב סלע. אדוני צבאות אשר אדם מותח בך. אדוני הושיע המלך, יעננו ביום קורנו.
Amen.
לבקש את עזרתו של הבורא ברוך הוא. וכוחו ועוזו וגבורתו של השם הם לאין שיעור. השם ברוך הוא,
When it started noontime, we all were not sure what happened.
צריך לעצום את העיניים, ואז לפתוח אותם, ולראות את השם, והנה השם ניצב עליו. לראות שהשם הוא לפנינו, הוא פה. לחשוב שהשם רק למעלה, זה לא הדרך. הדרך שאנחנו אומרים מלוא כל הארץ כבודו, הפירוש הוא פה, הוא כאן, הוא איתנו, הוא שומע אותנו, הוא מבין אותנו, הוא רואה אותנו, הוא יודע אותנו. הקשר שלנו אליו צריך להיות כל כך חזק, בלי פחד ובלי מורא. לשתף ולבקש אותו. אנחנו לוחמים במטרה לנצח בשביל ארץ הקודש, על ארץ ישראל, ארץ אשר עיני אדוני אלוהיך בה מראשית שנה ועד אחרית שנה. בשר ודם הם באים בניצחונו של בשר ודם, על כבוד, על יוהרה, על גאווה, על ממון, על מלחמות, על דמים. עם ישראל בא בניצחונו של מקום, זה הגבורה של עם ישראל. אנחנו רוצים לנצח בשביל קדושת הארץ, בשביל יישוב הארץ, ארץ אבותינו, ארץ חמדתנו, כל המקומות הקדושים הנמצאים בארץ ישראל. רק אדם דר בארץ ישראל, חכמים מלמדים במסכת כתובות בדף ק"י, בדף ק"יא, שאדם שרוי בלא עוון, כאילו דומה כמי שיש לו אלוה. כל המצוות, כל הקדושות, כל ההשפעות, מחילת עוונות, אדם קדוש, אדם טהור, אדם צדיק, אדם נושם אוויר ארץ ישראל. רק מה זה לדור בארץ ישראל? רק רגע אחד להיות בארץ ישראל. פסע, שאדם פוסע, פסיעה קלה בארץ ישראל. מהלך בה ד' אמות הוא בן העולם הבא. כל כך יקרה וקדושה ארץ ישראל, שום דבר לא יכול לשבות עמה. ואשרי כל מי שמוסר נפשו על קדושת הארץ, אשריכם היושבים בה, שאתם לא רוצים לעזוב אותה ונשארים בה, ומוסרים נפשכם על קדושת הארץ. אשרינו מה טוב חלקנו, שאנחנו חושבים על ארץ ישראל ודבקים בארץ ישראל. הזכות הזאת והמחשבה הזאת היא קדושה ונוראה לדורי דורות, היא תשפיע לנו, לעם ישראל. זה מעלת יישוב ארץ ישראל, להבין את החשיבות ולא צריך לפחד ממנה ולא לברוח ממנה, אלא להישאר ולשמוח ולדבוק.
The Rebbe said the same thing.
ולחשוב על ארץ ישראל. ואני תפילה, שנתפלל להשם ברוך הוא שיושיענו. חשוב מאוד שכל אחד יהיה רגוע.
He was very clear that the people who were living there should not fear and should be Boteach Kadosh Baruch Hu. And many times when people asked him why he wouldn't visit, he said that he didn't know that there was it would be permissible to leave once he came to visit. Nothing new. This is the Rebbe's Shita.
יהיה מיושב בדעתו, לא להיבהל משום דבר. מי שיש לו קושי בנפש, או כל אחד גם כדאי, תיקחו עמכם בסמים. חשוב מאוד לברך בסמים. ברכת הבסמים יש בה סוד גדול ונורא מאוד. והרבה יודעים שיהיו כמה וכמה אנשים שאני יעצתי להם, וכמה שאני תמיד מורה להם לחלק שצריכים איזה עניין מסוים, או שעברו קושי גדול בנפש. אני מורה להם להריח בסמים, ויש בזה עניינים גדולים ונוראים מאוד מאוד. אבל עכשיו שכולם בקושי גדול, וכולם במצב הזה, כולם צריכים להריח בסמים. צריך להקפיד לברך בסמים, פריקת עצי בסמים, מיני בסמים, יסבה בסמים. להבין שבשעה שאנחנו מריחים את הבשמים ואומרים את הפסוק ריח ניחוח איש אל אדוני, יש בזה סודות נוראים ועליונים גדולים ונוראים מאוד מאוד, ותיקוני נשמה נפלאים. וגם זה מתיש כוחו של הסמך מהם, אותו שטן, אותו מלאך המוות. ובשמים זה ריח ניחוח איש אל השם. זה קדושה נוראה מאוד מאוד, ויש בזה דברים שאי אפשר לבאר ולהרחיב עליהם עכשיו. אבל צריך לדע שמי שיכול לעשות את זה, זה דבר קל מאוד. רק לזכור, מברכים על זה במקום ובכל שינוי מקום. מי שנמצא באותו מקלט או באותו חדר, אותו מקום, אז הוא מברך פעם אחת, וזה יועיל לו לכל משך זמן השהייה. אין צורך לברך כל חצי שעה, זה לא כמו שתיית מים או אכילה שאדם שותה לאחר שהוא מסיים לאכול, כי יש לו זמן עיכול והוא צריך לברך ברכה אחרונה. אבל על הריח, בגלל שהוא הנאה מועטת, אין צורך לברך עליו ברכה אחרונה, ולכן בגלל זה גם אין בו היסח הדעת. כך למד רש"י במסכת נידב דף נ"ב עמוד א', שזה הנאה מועטת, ולכן לא מברכים עליה ברכה אחרונה. וצריך לחשוב שכמה שאנחנו נוכל להסביר ולבאר את הסודות הטמונים בדבר הזה, ואת הכוח הגדול שיש בזה, יכלה הזמן, והם לא יכלו. אז אני מציע לכל אחד להריח בסמים כמה שאפשר. ולהתפלל להשם ברוך הוא יושב בשמיים, שירחמנו ויושיענו, ושנזכה לגאולה השלמה. והייתי רוצה שנתפלל תפילה לכבוד השם ברוך הוא, שנקרא אותה וזוהי. אנא אל אלוהים, אדוני, מכל לעווני, וכפר לאשמתי, וכסה על עלומי, והשיבני אליך ואשובה, בשובה ונחת. ושובה אדוני, ואל תשפוך עלי חמה וצער, ואש קצפך בי אל תבער. כי מה אני ומה חיי, ומה חמדת מאוויי. מה פשעי ומה רשעי, קדוש ושמך קדוש. אתה אדיר ושמך אדיר. אתה אמיץ ושמך אמיץ. אתה אמת ושמך אמת. אתה ברוך ושמך ברוך. אתה גדול ושמך גדול. אתה גיבור ושמך גיבור. אתה גאה ושמך גאה. אתה דגול ושמך דגול. אתה אדור ושמך אדור. אתה ותיק ושמך ותיק. אתה ועד ושמך ועד. אתה זך ושמך זך. אתה חסין ושמך חסין. אתה חי ושמך חי. אתה טהור ושמך טהור. אתה יחיד ושמך יחיד. אתה מרום ושמך מרום. אתה נורא ושמך נורא. אתה נערץ ושמך נערץ. אתה סומך ושמך סומך. אתה איזוז ושמך איזוז. אתה עתיק ושמך עתיק. אתה פאר ושמך פאר. אתה צדיק ושמך צדיק. אתה צח ושמך צח. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש. אתה רחום ושמך רחום. אתה שדי ושמך שדי. אתה תמים ושמך תמים. ברוך אתה, האל הקדוש. ויהי רחמך, אדוני עלינו, ותחוס ותרחם עלינו, ועל כל סגולתך, ועל כל עמך ישראל. ויאמרו הכל אדוני הוא האלוהים. ואתה תפיל מלפניך את כל אויבינו. אנא, רחום וחנון, רוכב ערבות, יושב זבול, שוכן מעון, יושב שחקים, יושב על כיסא הרחמים. וברקיע השביעי כולו אור שבעתיים, ומאורו יבעיקו כל המעונות, ובו כיסא הכבוד נכון על 4 חיות. ובו אוצרות חיים ואוצרות נפשות, ואין חקר ואין תכלית. ומרוב אורה האיר הארץ. ומלאכים אחוזים בעמודי אור, ואורם כאור נוגה, ולא יכבה. ועיניהם כניצוצי ברק, ומעמדם על גבי אור. מפארים באימה אל היושב על כיסא רם ונישא, כי הוא לבדו, ואין שום זר איתו, ואין אפס בלתו. מקולו ינועו אמות הסיפים, וחילותם עומדים לפניו, ולא ישורו דמות פניו, כי הוא נסתר מכל, ואין אותם יכולים לראותו, ויחרדו, ודמותו מכל נעלם, ודמות כל ממנו לא נסתר. מגלה עמוקות מיני חושך, ויוצא לאור צל מוות. ויודע מה בסתרי אופל, כי אור עמו חונה. וכסלמה עוטה אור, יושב בכיסא האור, וסביבותיו עיניים אור. וחיות ואופנים ינשאו, והם המעופפים, ולהם 6 כנפיים, ובכנפיהם יכסו פניהם, ולמטה יתנו פניהם, ולארבעתם פונים פניהם, ולא ירימו למעלה פניהם מפחדו ואימתו. והם על גביהם עומדים לפניו, כיתות כיתות, וטובלים בנהר טהרה, בנהר דינור, מתעטפים באש לבנה, ועונים בקול חזק ואמיץ, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. והוא מקום לכל המעשים, והוא מקדם לכל העולם, והוא מקדם לגן עדן, והוא עוד עד לא שמיים וארץ, והוא לבדו, ואין זר איתו, ואפס בלתו. ענה אדוני אלוהי הרוחות, אדון הרחמים והסליחות. פנה אליי וחונני, בטרם אקרא אליך, ענני. ועל כמפעלי תדינני, ולמפגיע לך אל תשימני. ומשעון קמים תצילני, ובצל כנפיך מרוכסי איש תסתירני. ומאויבי פצני, ומרגשת פועלי אבן חלצני. ומבור דלותי ועניותי תריצני ותרימני, ותחפוץ בי ותרצני, וחזקני לעבודתך ואמצני. ומלא חפצי, ואל תשדד רבצי. ובנה פרצי, והרחב לחצי, ורפא מחצי. והשיבני אליך בטרם עת קיצי, ואל תסתר פניך ממני, בטרם אלך ואינני. אנא אדוני אלוהי ואלוהי אבותי, השוכן בשמי שמיים ועונך. בושתי ונכלמתי להרים פני אליך. שברה ליבי לשאת עין מול גדולתך, כי נבזה וחדל אישים כמוני. איך יעמוד נגדך? אבל נשענתי על גודל חסדיך, ממך נסתי ושבתי ידיך, כי אין לי בלעדיך. לכן עיניי תלויות ורעיוני לשמי קודשך צופיות. פקח אלוהי עיניך, והטה אוזניך אל הרינה ואל התפילה ואל התחינה, אשר עבדיך מתפללים לפניך, בנפש מרה ורוח נקעה. ועתה אלוהי, הנה באתי היום לפניך, מתחרד מפני גבורותיך, לשאול ממך שאלה וכוח, לפתוח לי סגירות שעריך. ואני לא באתי לזכור השמות, אלא לייחד ייחודך ולמהר לעבדיך, שיעשו בכוח השמות הקדושים. ובאתי כעבד לפניך, קורע ומשתחווה לפניך, והנני מודה שאתה אלוהי בראתני לכבודך, ואני מעשה ידיך מעפר רימותני, ובאש רוח מים ועפר יסודות יסדתני, ונשמה ממקום עיניך שמת באיברי, להגיד נפלאותיך. רם ונישא אתה הוא אלוהי, ואני המתפלל עבדך באתי היום לפניך, להודיע עוצם ייחוד תעצומך וגודל פלאות צבאותיך. ואני אומר בשבח פלאותיך אלוהי, ברוב גדולתך דליתני היום, ומעפר הקימותני, לאמור פליאותיך באתי מרום תעלומות, ותפארתו עמדו טמאים. מלאכיו השומרים בראותם מעשה ידיך, פעילוכם ומעמדם וישיבתם, הכל בסדר שלם.
Amen. Good night, Don. Hello, Jacob. I first discovered you by way of your talks with Father Stephen. Thank you for your continual dialogues with him. Thank you very much for watching. Prior to my conversion to Orthodox Christianity, I listened to Dave Smith and his podcast quite regularly. Okay. And while I certainly no longer consider myself a libertarian, finding the basis for much of the ideology to be implicitly nihilistic, yeah, I have great respect for Dave Smith. He seems, I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I really am not. I see him overall as a man of integrity. I think he is. I don't spend time on Twitter. You, Ashrecha, you are a fortunate man. So I have no perspective. But it is sad to hear that anti-Semites are using Dave to push their filth. Yeah, I mean, look, and frankly, I think he has a poor understanding of basically the world. He really imagines that Israel is far worse than it is. And I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I finished all the pickles. It's almost midnight. There's only a few people watching. Probably I'm going to end this stream soon. have you seen Father Stephen's Twitch streams, which he has posted to his YouTube? You mean him playing Marvel games? I don't know enough about games to say much about them. I have seen some of them. I don't know if he's really good. I'm guessing he probably is. It looks from the comments like he is. Oh, actually, what I was thinking of doing was, where was that? I considered going through the comments and seeing what the comments were. Top comments. Let's see. 12,000 likes. 40 minutes in. Here's a summary. Douglas, people will claim to be an expert, then hide behind, I'm just a comedian when they're challenged. Dave, I've never claimed to be an expert. Douglas, you see, Joe? This is the problem when people who aren't experts talk about this stuff. Joe, are you saying only experts are allowed to talk about this stuff? Douglas, no, you don't need to be an expert to talk about this stuff. Repeat these quotes about 6 to 8 times, and you have basically listened to the first 40 minutes of this show. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. Don't forget the ad reads. 40 minutes. Try the whole podcast. That's what I thought too. I don't understand what Douglas was trying to get at. He wasn't making sense. Oh my God. Yup, bad start by Douglas. Silly waste of time. It's right there in front of you. Right there in front of you. Right there. I love when they ask Douglas a question and he responds with an exhausted sigh as if he can't believe he has to explain himself. I did not get that impression. Listening to this guy talk in circles is making my hangover return, and yes, I am an expert on hangovers. Sounds like somebody who doesn't like Douglas. 16 minutes ago. Oh, is this T for Tech? I don't know. As someone from outside the US, that's not T for Tech. I now truly understand the significance of the First Amendment. I'm not a professional YouTube commentator, but I'm going to leave a comment, and this is the problem. There's something so uniquely repulsive about someone being this wrong while still managing to maintain this level of smugness about it. Unfortunately, while I agree with you, I wonder what percentage of these people thought it was, well, yeah, a bunch of them thought it was Murray who was being smug, but Murray is right. Murray is against creating echo chambers of false information. He even said he's not against open discussion amongst non-experts, but when you have a platform, it is important to fact-check information you propagate, especially if you're not an expert, and especially if it's about polarizing topics. Yes, but how many people are going to agree with him? Be honest, the posh accent and speaking style does a lot to project that. This appearance was a miss for Murray. I don't think so. I'm surprised. Yeah, it wasn't as good as it could have been. I don't think he has the chops to be on a podcast like this one. Not true. It was 2 against 1. it would have been much, much better if it was him alone. He's better suited to talking with either one, people in agreement with him, straight up journos, researcher types talking about a specific topic. Rogan's is too freewheeling for him. No, it was actually the fact that there were two of them, which kind of made it hard. This was Douglas Murray's Prince Andrew interview. Don't even know what that means. I am going to take my Douglas Murray expert certification exam tomorrow. Wish me luck. I knew that would be people's reactions, unfortunately. As someone who is constantly looking for new ways to gaslight my friends in political chats, I have learned so much from Douglas in this podcast. Murray saying Dave shouldn't take U.S. wars personally made my jaw drop. My jaw drop. Yes, we Americans are responsible for what our government does and who they kill. Didn't understand what he was saying. Podcast starts. Douglas starts off talking about the importance of expertise. Issue of Daryl Cooper comes up. Douglas speaks definitively about the issue despite admitting that he's never listened to Daryl Cooper's work. That's actually not true. That's not what he said. And hand waves away what someone familiar with the issue, Joe. So now you have to be an expert in Daryl Cooper's work. This is what drives me nuts. Murray's performance was a spectacular example of why the expert class is so utterly unspectacular. I mean, it is Rogan's audience. I want to give my opinion on this debate, but I have never been to Joe's studio. A note to Mr. Murray, we are finding out more and more each day that the authoritative voices you mentioned are often the voices that are the most full of shit. No, they're actually not the ones that are the most full of shit. That's part of the problem. I don't know what qualifies someone as an expert, but I think Dave got the trophy on this one. If Murray's plan was to come off as smug and unlikable as possible, he did a great job. This is the strongest evidence of thought policing I have ever seen. Thought policing. Thought policing. He came and he discussed the issue. This is thought policing. You're not even allowed to discuss the issue. I'm not a professional podcast listener, but I will listen to this podcast, and that's the problem here, Joe. Dave and Joe handled this exceptionally well. No, they did not. Okay, bot, yeah. Douglas spent a lot of time saying Cooper needs to be debunked, but he didn't spend any time debunking him. Yeah, that's part of the problem. The amount of time it takes to debunk someone like Daryl Cooper is immense. Immense. And he'll just say, but I'm not an expert, dude. Why are we even talking about this guy? Because you brought him up. Yeah, he was a guest on the Joe Rogan show. Big props to Daryl for living rent-free in Douglas and Sam Harris's head. It's not rent-free. He lives in my head too. This is someone who is directly endangering my life. I am not joking about that. Joe should definitely hold more debates. Very engaging. No, Joe should not hold more debates, especially not ones in which he, as the moderator, puts the. The whole podcast in a nutshell. Douglas, isn't it weird? Joe and Dave, what's weird? Douglas, exactly. As an Englishman, I apologize for this guy. It's horrendous what his algorithm has done to him. Oh, God. See, a 3-hour podcast was supposedly should have allowed them to was it 3 hours? Oh wait, 2 hours and 58 minutes. Should have allowed for nuance, but apparently it's even 3 hours isn't enough for nuance. Okay, so unfortunately, the comment section seems to be unable to understand one side of the conversation or the other. Seems to be a lot of bias going in for viewers and those involved in the conversation, myself included. Out of curiosity, did you watch the JRE episode with Daryl Cooper? Yes, I did. And I have listened to more of Daryl Cooper than anyone really should. Unfortunately, Daryl Cooper is precisely infotainment. It's not good history. It is plausible history. It is interesting history. It is a story. It is a myopic and well-told story of someone who has no pretense of being objective or fair. And for people who get caught up in his story, it is very, very unfortunate. This is shallow infotainment, and it will destroy our civilization if that's how we end up. And it's sad, and I don't know what the solution is at all, unfortunately. Okay, people. Is anybody even watching? Very few people are still watching. I am going to play my outro and say good night. I'm going to use host's prerogative to put the Reverend Parcells to bed, because he does need to get up in the morning.
Sorry, Reverend. Thank you.
But before he goes, I have a question. Let's say, God forbid, that I were to burn somebody at the stake for not being a Trinitarian, and I did not repent of that. Is that a salvation issue?
Sometimes Jacob takes that devil's advocate thing too
Isn't there
far.
a proverb that says something like, "Don't answer a fool according to his folly"?
But there's a proverb that says, "Answer a fool according to his folly."
There is. Exactly right. And I'm going to leave it to you guys to determine, which of those was applicable in this situation as I go. So, but anyhow, good.
Thank you, Reverend.
Good to
Thank
chat
you.
with you all.
Thank you.
Good night.
The